Mr. Clerk, call the Senate to order. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Barnett, Senator Barrett, Senator Blackman, Senator Blackwell, Senator Blunt, Senator Boyd, Senator Branning, Senator Bryan, Senator Butler to 36, Senator Butler to 38, Senator Carter, Senator Kaufman, Senator Chazanall, Senator Chisholm, Senator DeBar, Senator Delano, Senator England, Senator Fillingane, Senator Frazier, Senator Harkin, Senator Hickman, Senator Hill, Senator Hobson, Senator Horn, Senator Jackson, Senator Johnson, Senator Jordan, Senator Kirby, Senator McCohen, Senator McDaniel, Senator McClendon, Senator McMahon, Senator Michelle, Senator Moran,
Here.
Senator Norwood, Senator Parker, Senator Parks, Senator Pope, Senator Seymour, Senator Simmons of the 12th, Senator Simmons of the 13th, Senator Sojourner, Senator Sparks, Senator Suber, Senator Tate, Senator Thomas, Senator Thompson, Senator Turner Ford, Senator Whaley, Senator Wiggins, Senator Williams, Senator Younger. Mr. President, a quorum is present.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Will the senators and guests in the gallery please rise for the invocation to be given by Brother Chris Floyd, who is the pastor of the Broadmoor Baptist Church in Meridian, Mississippi. The invocation will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Senator Moran. So, Brother Floyd.
May we pray? Father, we're so humbled to be here today to lead this body in prayer to you, our great God. There is no other God like you. We thank you, Lord, for salvation and its availability to all men. Dear God, I pray that you would bless this body today. Some of these decisions will be rather routine, but others will shape our state, not only now, but for generations to come. Dear God, I pray that every decision would be made with your guidance and asking for your help. We thank you that we can live in this state. We thank you that we can live a sheltered life. We thank you that we can live a free life that only comes because of you. Bless these men, bless these women. Lord, bless the pages and everyone that's here, spectators, lobbyists, business people, whatever they may be. And dear God, we'll look to you and we'll praise you for everything. It's in your Son's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the prayer. In the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Brother Floyd. Now the reading of the Journal. Senator Polk, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate dispense with the reading of the Journal.
Senator moves to dispense with the reading of the Journal. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed. Message and petitions, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. President, there are none.
Committee reports. Senator Polk, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate dispense with the reading of the committee reports.
Senator moves to dispense with the reading of the committee reports. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Next to the reading of the titles of the bills and resolutions are recognized. Senator Pope.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate dispense with the reading of the titles of the bills and resolutions.
Senator moves to dispense with the reading of the titles of the bills and resolutions. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Introduction of guests. Senator Butler, you're recognized for introduction. Senator Butler.
Yes, Mr. President. Mr. President, I would like for my Senate colleagues to help me welcome Ms. Mary Kitchen, who are with us today, and help me welcome her to our Senate today.
Great work on Camp Kamasa. Ms. Kitchens, we really appreciate all you're doing down there and look forward to your opening. Senator Boyd,
Introduction.
please proceed.
Will the Senate help me make welcome today Dr. Sigler Morris from Oxford, who's internal medicine specialist, and also Dr. Richard Bressler, also of Oxford, and also make welcome 4 of our William Carey first, second, and third year medical students. Thank y'all.
Introduction, Senator Moran. You're recognized for an introduction, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a few. First of all, over here at the Smoker's Table, our dear friend of the family, Brother Chris Floyd, who did the invocation for us today. Known him for many, many years. Fine man. Please help us make him feel welcome. Also, up in the South Gallery, up there talking to Senator Joey Fillingham, is my sister-in-law, JoJo Brady, and her husband Glenn, and my nephew Banks. And also with them, the lady in green is Miss Katie Dixon, and these are the parents of my 2 pages this week. So if we could, please make them feel welcome. Thank you.
Further introductions. Seeing none, we'll go to the calendars. Chairman McMahon. On item 1, Senate.
Good morning, Mr. President. I'd like to skip down to item 4 on today's calendar, House Bill 1725, and ask the title be read.
1, 2, and 3 retain their place on the calendar. Item 4, Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
House Bill number 1725, Lowndes County authorized contribution to Prairie Land Water Association using ARPA local fiscal recovery funds.
Make the usual motion.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed, Senator McMahon.
This will authorize the Board of Supervisors of Lowndes County to contribute $890,000 of their ARPA funds to a local utility. That local utility company is the Prairie Land Water Association. That's what the bill does.
Questions on the bill? Questions on the bill? Seeing none, Senator, we're ready for your motion, sir.
I move by passage on the morning roll call.
Use of the morning roll call been requested. Anyone object to the procedure? Callers voting no. Present. Seeing none, bill passes. Senator McMahon, you're recognized.
Call up item 7 on today's calendar and ask the title be read.
5 and 6 retain their place on the calendar. Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
House Bill number 1787, Scenic Rivers Development Alliance authorized to create special purpose entities.
Make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed.
So House Bill 1787 was created. It's local and private. It created an alliance between several different counties. Those counties are Pike, Amite, Walthall, Franklin counties, and the board and the mayor of Macomb and the board of Wilkinson County Industrial Authority. And the trustees of Pike County Economic. And what they're doing is they're trying to attract a special entity to a Scenic River Development Alliance. So the entity is not aimed, but they're trying to make the legislation as friendly as to attract a hotel and convention centers they can. It's a unified effort of a local region. I'd be happy to yield for any questions.
Questions on the bill? I think that's a mitt. All right. Seeing none, we're ready for your motion.
Move for passage on the morning roll call.
Morning roll call has been requested. Anyone object to procedure? Of course, voting no. Present. Please proceed, Senator. Bill passes.
Call up item 11 on today's calendar and ask the title be read.
8, 9, and 10 retain their place upon the calendar. Item 11, Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
3145, George County authorized to levy 3% sales tax on the sales of hotels and motels within the county and 1% tax on the sales of restaurants.
Make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
I did make the usual motion.
You did.
Okay, thank you. So this is a new tax for George County, a 3% sales tax for hotels and motels within the county, and a 1% tax on restaurants. It does have a repeal date in it. And what they're going to do is they're going to build a sports complex and recreation facility in the county and with the cooperation of the city of Bluesdale. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Questions on the bill? Senator McClendon, for what purpose, sir?
A question, please.
Are you for a
Mr.
question,
President.
Senator McMahon?
I do.
Senator McClendon is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for working on this committee. Does the repeal date, does that mean it comes back to the legislature to vote on?
Yes, it comes back to the legislature on July 27th. Now, there'll have to be a special referendum, 60% referendum on this. Yes, sir, and then it'll come back, it'll repeal and come back on year 27.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Senator McClendon. Senator Hill, for what purpose?
A question, but I see that there's an election in their referendum. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Hill. Okay. Okay, other questions? Other questions? Seeing none, we're ready on your motion. Senator McMahon.
Move for passage on the morning roll call.
Use the morning roll call has been requested. Anyone object to the procedure? Or is voting no? McDaniel, no. Sojourner, no. Anyone? Chisholm, no. Anyone else? Anyone else? McClendon, present. Seeing none, bill passes. Item 12, Senator McMahon.
Call up item 12, ask the title be read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2004, Town of Duck Hill authorized governing authorities to levy tourism tax.
Make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed, Senator McMahon.
This is a Senate bill from Senator Chazanall. It's new legislation. It was double referred to local and private and finance. The town of Duck Hill is requesting authorization for a local option sales tax. That tax will be 2%. It will go before the people to be voted on in a special referendum, 60% requirement. And then if it passes, they'll use it for tourism and recreation purposes. It does have a repeal date of July 1st, 2027. I yield for any questions.
Questions on the bill? Questions on the bill? Seeing none, Senator, we're ready for your motion, sir.
Move for passage on the morning roll call.
Use of the morning roll call has been requested. Anyone object to the procedure? Part is voting no. McDaniel, no. Sojourner, no. Chisholm, no. Anyone else? McClendon, present. Anyone else? Seeing none, the bill passes. Thank you, Senator McMahon. Senator Hickman, you're recognized for an introduction. Senator Hickman, recognized for introduction only.
Thank you, Mr. President. Joining us in the North and West Gallery, we have Chairman Brooks and the Young Democrats of Mississippi. If you guys would please stand. They're here doing some recruiting for Convergence, so if anybody would like to set up an appointment, we'll be happy to do that for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Hickman.
Call up item 13 on today's calendar and ask the title be read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Bill number 2152, City of Byram authorized governing authorities to levy parks and recreation tax on restaurants.
Make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed, Senator.
This is a new local option sales tax. Came to by the request of the city of Byram, unanimous consent. It was double referred, and the city of Byram is requesting authorization to levy a tax if their people choose to vote on it for parks and recreation. And on your screens is a copy of that. Senator Blunt provided a copy of what they're wanting to build with this. It's a really impressive facility. It's a 2% sales tax if the people decide to vote for it. And there is a referendum in the bill, and it will expire on July 1st of 2033. And I bring that to your attention to let you know they're going to bond against this local option sales tax. And we have a committee sub. I need to adopt that committee sub.
One moment, please. It needs to go up on the screen, Carlos, please. Hold on, Senator. Okay. It's on the screen, Senator McMahon.
So that's what it does. It allows for a 10 years local option sales tax so they can bond against it for this complex. Be happy to yield for any questions.
Questions? Questions on the bill? Senator Turner for what purpose?
Question.
For you for a question, Senator McMahon?
Yes, I do.
Senator Turner Ford is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What was the purpose of introducing a committee sub on this?
Because they decided to change the date and go with a 10-year so that they could bond against the project. The reason you would do that is because you can get your money on the front and bond against it, and you can build a complex on the front end instead of having to pay for it over 10 years.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. If there aren't any other questions, I move for adoption of the committee sub.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. All right, we're on the bill.
If there aren't any other questions, I move for passage on the morning roll call.
Use of morning roll call has been requested. Anyone object to the procedure? Court is voting no. McDaniel, no. Sojourner, no. Chisholm, no. Anyone else? Anyone else? Present? Anyone else? Bill passes. Thank you. With the no vote noted, we're on item 14. Senator McMahon, you're recognized.
I call up item 14 on today's calendar and ask the title be read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2519, City of Monticello, authorized tourism tax on restaurants, hotels, and motels.
Make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senator.
This would be a new tax on the town of Monticello if the people choose to vote for it to tax themselves for the purposes of tourism and parks. There's a 2% tax. It would be voted on in a special referendum, 60% required for passage, and it would expire July 1st of 2027. Happy to yield for any questions.
Questions on the bill? Senator McClendon.
Question, please.
Will you yield for a question, Senator McMahon?
Yes.
Senator McClendon is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Did you say expire or?
The law will expire on it will repeal on 2027, so it will expire and have to come back for authorization from this body.
But it's got to come back to vote at the legislature.
Well, yeah, it may not pass. The people of Monticello may not pass it, which if they didn't pass it, then it would come back before this body.
But the repeal day is for it comes back here.
That's correct.
Thank you, sir.
If there aren't any other questions, I move for passage on the morning roll call.
Use of morning roll call has been requested. No object to procedure. Court is voting no. Sojourner, no. Chisholm, no. McDaniel, no. Anyone else? Anyone else? Present? Seeing none, the bill passes. Senator Younger, for what purpose?
Introduction at the right time.
Please proceed, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. In the south entrance of the gallery, we have a good friend of mine, good friend of my family from a long time. He's head of the ports of Lowndes County, Will Sanders. Will, please stand up. Y'all give him a big hand, please.
Good to see you again, Will. Welcome. Glad you're here. All right, Senator McMahon, number 15.
Call up item 15 on the day's calendar and
Mr.
ask the
Clerk,
title be read.
please read the title.
Senate Bill number 3143, City of Bluesdale, authorized to levy tax upon sales of restaurants for the purposes of funding parks and recreation.
Make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed, Senator.
City of Bluesdale's board and mayor have requested a local option sales tax for the purposes of funding their parks and recreation. This is I believe it's they're asking only for a 1% sales tax. It's a little bit different, so it's a lesser amount. Be our special referendum. If the people of Bluesdale want to choose to tax themselves for parks and recreation, that's what this would do. It would give them this authority. This bill will repeal on July 1st of 2027. Happy to yield for any questions.
Questions on the bill? Questions on the bill? Seeing none, we're ready for your motion, sir.
Move for passage on the morning roll call.
Use of morning roll call has been requested. Anyone object to the procedure? Records voting no. Sojourner, no. Chisholm, no. McDaniel, no. McClendon, present. Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing none, the bill passes. Thank you, Senator McMahon. We're on the concurrence and non-concurrence calendar. We'll do this by pages and to make sure that we cover all those, so please pay close attention. Page 2, concurrence or non-concurrence. Page 3, concurrence or non-concurrence. Chairman Chasnall is recognized. We'll be on 27, Senate. I can't hear you, ma'am. I'm sorry.
I'd like to pass item 27, sir.
All right. 27 is passed. 28. We're on 29, Chairman.
Thank you. I'd like to go to that item, call it up, and ask the title be read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Mississippi USA Semi-Quincentennial Commission and Mississippi Semi-Quincentennial Celebration Fund created.
My motion is to concur.
Questions on the motion?
There's only one slight change that the House made, and it was to be certain that an indigenous person was included in the number of appointees from the House. I don't have any problem with that. If there are no questions, I move that we pass this on the morning roll call.
Questions? Seeing none, Senator has requested use of the morning roll call for passage. Anyone object to the procedure? Court is voting no. Present? Seeing none, concurrence is granted. Chairman Hobson, pass. Polk, Bryan, DeBar, pass. Okay, we go to page 4, 34 through 39. 34 through 39. Senator Boyd, for what purpose?
Introduction out of order.
Please proceed, Senator.
Will the Senate help us make welcome Kevin Stump and Michelle Reef with the Mississippi Organ Recovery Agency, and they will have lunch in 409 beginning at 11:30 to 12:30. Welcome to your Capitol. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Chairman Harkins, we'll be at 36, sir.
I'd like to go to item 36, Senate Bill 2449, and have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate Bill number 2449, Sales and Use Taxes, bring forward code sections for the purpose of possible amendment.
I make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senator Harkins, you're recognized.
My motion is going to be we concur, and I'll be recognized to explain the changes to the bill.
You're recognized, Senator.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Senate, this is the bill we worked on during the session that dealt with software sales and service. And we worked on it throughout the session. It wasn't ready at the beginning of the session. We had several meetings with the Department of Revenue. It's kind of a complicated bill that touches a lot of different sections in code. And we had several meetings with stakeholders and with the Department of Revenue to get this final version. And what I'm going to do, I went over it in committee. I'm going to go over again kind of what the section by section of the bill are what they kind of identify, and I'll be happy to answer any questions when I conclude. Section 1 updates the sales tax definition of tangible personal property to state that tangible personal property shall also include computer software but not include electronically stored or maintained data, as consistent with historic policy. Section 2 deals with retail sales. It inserts language clarifying that taxable retail sales of tangible personal property include on those that are physically or electronically delivered or located within the state. It codifies the department's regulation that computer software maintained on a server located outside of the state and accessible for use only via the internet is not a taxable retail sale. Section 3 deals with public utilities. It removes duplicative provisions within the telecommunications tax statute addressing taxation of software, specified digital products, music, games, reading materials, ringtones, etc. that are addressed in other existing statutes. This change is made to avoid confusion and ambiguity and explicitly does not modify the taxation of any of these items, so it does not change the taxation on those. Section 4 clarifies that computer software service actually performed within the state as distinguished from those performed from locations outside the state. It revises existing authority to allow taxpayers to utilize any reasonable formula of apportionment to determine that portion of any cross-border services performed within the state and thus taxable from performed outside the state. So it gives a formula that they can use to basically determine how much of it is taxable that was done inside the state, how much of it was outside of the state. So going to Section 5, this section deals with the commissioner to make regulations for a direct pay permit. It requires the department to offer software users the equivalent of a direct pay permit that they can provide to their vendors or service providers, relieving those third parties of their obligation to collect sales tax. Sometimes there's been a confusion on how much to collect and whether to collect, and so they can provide this permit and they won't charge sales tax, and instead the user will self-accrue and report the appropriate taxes based on their use of taxable items and services within the state. Excuse me. Each user can elect whether to utilize this process or follow traditional methods in paying their taxes to the vendors. So they can either do the direct pay permit or they can just go about the customary way of paying tax when they purchase the product. This process already exists for manufacturers and certain other industries and should be easily administered. It is all subject to audit by the department. Section 6 deals with the definitions of computer software and computer software services. It adopts formal definitions of those in information and data processing services with multiple illustrative examples. It clarifies that computer software does not include charges for the use or right to use physical computer equipment, infrastructure, servers, platforms, and other tangible computer devices, including but not limited to those commonly referred to as a platform as a service or infrastructure as a service. These would remain taxable if located in Mississippi under existing law. It authorizes taxpayers to unbundle transactions comprised of both taxable and non-taxable computer software services. There shall be no presumption that the entire fee or payment is taxable because it encompasses both of the taxable and non-taxable elements. This department is still authorized to review and help determine that on audit. It authorizes taxpayers to determine a portion of multi-state license fee or payment attributable to computer software located within the state or to computer software services which are actually performed within the state of Mississippi. It provides several safe harbor methods taxpayers can use in making this allocation. The department is authorized to review and determine these on audit as well. It enacts a rule that computer software and computer software services provided by one legal entity to another commonly owned, related, or affiliated entity shall be treated as non-taxable transfers between different segments of one legal entity. If you have a parent company that has a division in Mississippi, a division in Alabama, a division in another state, they're all under the same umbrella. That's what that's referring to. It provides a sales tax credit mechanism for taxes paid on these items to other states, so you're not getting double taxed. If you recognize the tax in another state on this, that's what that portion does. Section 7 basically incorporates and applies for all the use tax sections as well for definition of computer software. Section 8 It codifies the department's regulation that computer software maintained on a server located outside the state and accessible for use via only the internet is not a taxable use, storage, or consumption under this chapter. So if you have a software you access that is not in the state, and you can only, it's not housed in the state, and it's only accessible by the internet goes out and you can't get it. That's what this is referring to. Section 9 is the section that codifies as a new section in code. And then Section 10, just basic statutory changes are prospective only and do not impact any assessment, refund, or proceedings applicable to periods prior to the effective date of this language, and the effective date is July 1 of 2023. That is an explanation of the bill, or the what has come over from the House, what we've been working on all session, and I'll be happy to yield for any questions.
Senator Hill, for what purpose?
Question.
You for a question, Senator Harkins?
I do.
Senator Hill is recognized for a question.
Can you give me an example of who we're trying to now tax with changing this definition to add computer software as a taxable entity? And how much revenue does the department expect to generate with this change?
I don't think it's so much as who we're taxing. We're already taxing stuff. If you buy something in state, it's taxable here. If you go over to Louisiana or in a different state and you're purchasing something in Louisiana, you're a resident of Louisiana, it's taxable there. What we're saying is if you're a Mississippi resident and you're buying software as a service and it's kept outside of the state, you don't receive it in state, like maybe QuickBooks or something that you load on your computer, that is actual tangible property that's located in the state, and it's a taxable event. But if you have computer software you access that's not housed in the state, it's in a different state, you don't pay sales tax on it.
So if it's a Mississippi company, we're going to pay sales tax on it, but if it's not a Mississippi company, we're not going to pay sales tax on it.
If they're not located, if the software as a service or the infrastructure as a service or platform as a service is not located in the state, you're not going to pay sales tax on it.
But if it is located in the state, okay.
You do pay sales tax.
So that seems like that's the opposite of what we did with the use tax. Am I going in the right direction?
I think it's a different, you're receiving property that's coming to you. This entity is not, you're not receiving the software. It's not loaded on your computer. You don't receive any type of, you don't have the actual computer hardware, servers or anything are not located on your property. They're off in another state.
Right.
So you're not receiving it.
Well, I mean, even if you're in the state of Mississippi and you're receiving these services from another entity that's not located close to you, maybe I'm in the south end and the people giving me the service are in the north end, we're now going to tax them. But if I'm getting
you're already taxing them.
We're already taxing them.
You're already taxing
So-
those that are in the states. Like if you go to the gas station and buy candy, you're buying property.
No, I'm not talking about candy. I'm talking about computer software. That's what's in this bill.
Correct.
So we're already taxing them for
Yes.
computer software.
If it's in state.
If it's in state. So
Yes.
what's the actual purpose of the change of the language?
There's been some conflict in the code that it says in one section that software as a service is not a taxable event. In another section it says it is, and we're trying to create some uniformity of how we're treating it. And so when it's outside the state, you don't receive it. You don't personally take possession of it. So you're not going to pay sales tax on it.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's in the state, if you're buying it from a vendor in the state and you are using it, or it is actually being delivered to your business, you're going to pay sales tax on it. Just if you bought equipment or any other type product.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Carter. For what purpose, sir?
Introduction out of order.
One moment, Senator. Let's finish the questions and finish this bill here. It's complicated. Senator McMahon?
I have a question.
You for a question, Senator Harkins?
I do.
Senator McMahon is recognized for a question on the bill.
Senator Harkins, thank you for your work on this. We're currently collecting taxes on software that's being downloaded in the state or whether it's coming down on the web, correct?
That is the position, I believe, where we are right now, is they're collecting on it, and some reports that they haven't been collecting it, and I think we're just trying to clarify what will be a taxable event, what won't be.
That's correct. And so this bill, the purpose of this bill is a tax cut.
It will eliminate
It will
the
cut
tax,
taxes.
yes.
That's right. It's also going to cut out some regulations. Is that accurate?
That's my understanding, yes.
Yeah, that's my understanding as well. Really appreciate your work on this. And, Mr. President, I'd like to speak on the bill at the appropriate point when we close.
Okay, if you would proceed to the front. Senator, because I see no further questions. Further questions? Senator McMahon is recognized to speak on the bill. Senator Harkins, we will recognize you to close.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. President. I'll be brief. I just wanted to bring it to the body's mind, to your attention. This is one of the most important pieces of legislation before us this year. We're fortunate to have some of the largest companies in the United States that are doing business in Mississippi. And yes, I want to brag on my hometown of Tupelo, Mississippi, but it's not just my asset, it's the asset of this entire state. Tupelo has something that Atlanta, Georgia, and Nashville, Tennessee, and Dallas, Texas does not have. We have two $10 billion companies, banks located within the district. These are high-paying tech jobs, very technical, a lot of coding, a lot of high-end jobs, and this bill has the potential to save over 100 six-digit jobs. And this is some of the most important work we'll do. It's not just going to affect the banking industry in this state. It's also going to affect some other very large organizations. And I'm asking this body, for the sake of cutting taxes and for cutting regulations and to make Mississippi more competitive with the surrounding states and the states across this nation, I ask you to support this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator McMahon. Senator Harkins, you're recognized to close, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate the work of the committee and the indulgence, letting us kind of work this through the session. We basically just had an empty bill vehicle that we started with, and we tried to work a lot of stakeholders, a lot of different groups at the table, and hopefully this is a good product that will help our businesses in our state. And if no other questions, I move adoption on the morning roll call.
Use of the morning roll call. Final passage on use of the morning roll call. Does anyone object to procedure? Wish to be, of course, voting no. Present. Seeing none. Bill passes. Thank you, Senator Harkins, Pope, Wiggins. I'm sorry now, Senator Carter. For what purpose, sir?
Introduction out of order.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have Our Lady of Fatima in the south and west gallery over here. Miss Grammer in the 6th grade class. If y'all would stand and have the Senate make you welcome. Also have my neighbor up there, Jake Smith. He's responsible for my HOA dues, so don't clap for him.
All right. At least you haven't lost your sense of humor. Senator Parker, for what purpose, sir?
For an introduction.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've been informed, I think Miss Sally Williams from the Child Advocacy Center is kind of hiding behind the pole over there. We are proud to have her and her team with her today, so please make them all welcome today.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Thank you for your work. Senator Polk, Senator Wiggins, good. All right, we go to in conference, and since those haven't been held yet, we can skip over to page 25. Senate will go to page 25, and we'll recognize Senator Seymour. Senator Seymour. Senator Seymour, we're on page 25, sir. Number 222, Senate.
Mr. President, I ask that we suspend the rules to take up from items 222 through item 227 in block.
222 to 227 in block. Anyone object to that procedure? Wish to pull one of those, 222 to 227. Give you just a moment to look. Seeing none, Senator. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. All right, Senator, we're on your explanation. Mr. Clerk, please read the titles.
Senate nomination number 54, Colonel Deborah Wally, Deb Coleman, Brandon, Mississippi State Veterans Affairs Board as an at-large member, 5-year term effective June 1st, 2022 and ending May 31st, 2027. Senate nomination number 55, John Scott Haas, Ladner, Gulfport, Mississippi State Veterans Affairs Board, 5-year term effective July 14th, 2022 and ending May 31st, 2027. Representing the 5th Congressional District, Vice General James H. Garner. Senate nomination number 56, Brigadier General retired Norman Gene Hortman Jr., Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Veterans Home Purchase Board to represent the state at large, 4-year term beginning July 1st, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2026. Senate nomination number 75, Rodney Harris, Clinton, Mississippi, Veteran Home Purchase Board to represent the 4th Congressional District as it existed May 1st, 1987. Unexpired 4-year term effective October 4th, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2024. Vice Thomas Henry Watts. Senate nomination number 57, Major General James H. Lipscomb III, Greenville, Mississippi, Veterans Home Purchase Board to represent the 2nd Congressional District as it existed May 1st, 1987. Unexpired 4-year term effective November 1st, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2023. Vice Richard D. Stevens. Senate nomination number 58, Major General James H. Lipscomb III, Greenville, Mississippi, Veterans Home Purchase Board to represent the 2nd Congressional District as it existed May 1st, 1987. 4-year term effective July 1st, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2027.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. All right, Senator.
Mr. President, my motion is going to be to advise and consent and be allowed to explain.
You're recognized to explain, Senator.
All these nominees come, the 3 that needed to be come before the committee, and all nominees, as far as their ethic, the statement of economic interest are confirmed, filed now, and all statutory requirements are met by these nominees and confirmed by peers. If there are no questions, my motion is to advise and consent by the use of the morning roll call.
Use of the morning roll call has been requested. Anyone object to procedure? Or is voting no? Present? Seeing none, thank you, Senator Seymour. All advise and consent granted to all through 227. Chairman Whaley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to go to item 228, called up and have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
Senate nomination number 60, William Malcolm Billy Monger II, Jackson, Mississippi, Commission on Wildlife, Fisheries and Parks as a representative of the 4th Congressional District, 5-year term effective July 1st, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2027.
I'd like to be recognized to explain.
Senator is recognized to explain.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Billy Monger is a reappointment to the Commission on Wildlife, Fisheries and Parks. He has served a term before this. Like I said, this is a resubmission of his service. He came before the committee. We had several questions. He laid out his vision of the commission and what he has accomplished on the commission so far. There was no derogatory information found within the peer report. The committee obviously voted to put him to this point, so I'll yield to any questions.
Questions? Questions. Seeing none, Senator.
Move that we do advise and consent by the morning roll call.
Use of the morning roll call has been requested to advise and consent. Anyone object to the procedure? Court is voting no. Present. Advise and consent granted. Mr. Munger's done a great job with Lynn Posey. We welcome him back and appreciate his service. Chairman Parks. Chairman Parks. Pass. Okay, Senator Delano. For what purpose, sir?
Introduction.
Would you please proceed?
Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I know that our friends from Biloxi and Our Lady of Fatima have already been introduced, but there's a couple of special people up there that I want to draw attention to. One is Miss Crystal Felcher, who's Representative Kevin Felcher's wife, and their son, Cooper. Make them feel welcome. Thank you very much.
Okay, announcements. Announcements. Senator McMahon, you're recognized for an announcement, sir.
I'd like to call a local and private meeting at 1:30 today, and I believe it's room. I think the clerk, it's 210, I believe.
1:30 and 2:10, Mr. Clerk.
Is that correct, the room?
One moment.
Or 409, we can do either one, but we need to have a local and private meeting at 1:30 today, take up some bills.
Thank you, Senator McMahon. Senator Thompson,
Announcement, Mr. President.
please proceed.
Portrait Marine Resources will meet at 2:10 at 11 o'clock.
2:10 at 11 o'clock. Senator Carter.
Thank you, Mr. President. On yesterday's calendar, item number 38, Senate Bill 2103, I want to hold it on motion to reconsider.
2103, Mr. Clerk. Thank you, Senator Carter. Senator McDaniel,
Announcement.
please proceed.
The Environmental Protection Committee will meet today in room 210 at 11:30 for a single nomination to consider.
2:10 at 11:30, Mr. Clerk. Okay. Anyone else? Senator Moran, for what purpose, sir?
Announcement.
Please proceed.
Just reminding everyone upon recess, which will be somewhere around 11 o'clock, we're in room 210, the Ports and Harbors Committee. We have 2 confirmations. Won't take long if we take care of this.
Okay. Senator Moran, anyone else? Anyone else? Could we, Mr. Clerk, would you please read the meetings?
Okay, at what? Okay. 11 a.m. Ports Marines will meet in room 210 at 11 a.m. 11:30 a.m. Environmental Protection, Conservation, and Water Resources will meet in room 210, and at 1:30 p.m. Local and private will meet at room 210.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We are awaiting the conferees, the recommendations for conferees. Since we have a deadline, the President of the Senate will assume if you haven't got those there by 5 o'clock, that the President will make the determination. So please get your nominees in so we can finish up with our conferee appointments. Okay, Senator McCon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to make a quick announcement.
Please proceed, Senator.
Mr. President and members of the Senate, on your desk or around, we've provided you a pin with the Irish flag. That's brought to you by your American Irish Caucus. As there's potential we may or may not be here tomorrow, we went ahead and gave them to you today so you can wear them tomorrow in your own hometowns. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Senator. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Okay. Senator Polk, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate stand in recess until 5 p.m. today, at which time the journal will reflect that we are adjourned until Monday at 4 p.m.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it.